I actually wasn't going to raise my hand because it just sort of got answered, but I'm so pleased to be here, and I just really want to thank you, Abraham and Esther and Jerry, so much. I've never been happier in my life, and my friend Dale, I have to thank her for giving up me Asking It Is Given way back. My husband and I are going to be married 44 years soon, and for the first 40 years, I really did try to change him. A lot, and it absolutely didn't work. I mean, we did better than most, but still. And after reading Asking It Is Given, and I would wake up and the first critical thought I would have about him, for some silly thing, and I said, well, wait a minute, Bev, this doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to me, so what am I going to do about it? And I just, from then on, just saw everything that I appreciated, a lot of things that I never even noticed in all those other years, can you imagine? And it's just been a miracle, absolutely. But it didn't have anything to do with him, turns out.
You know what's really interesting about that is, so let's say that you have a relationship that's been going on for a while. And let's say that, as you suggested, you see something that you would like to be different. And let's say you haven't been and never were, but just for sake of conversation, let's say that you got in a pretty criticizing place about it, that really there could have been stronger effort made to be different. So you began to project that opinion to another. Maybe it's to a child, maybe it's to a mate, to someone. You project your opinion of disapproval. The first thing that happens is, because the source within that person never disapproves. So the first thing that happens is, in your disapproval, it's like pulling them away from who they really are. In other words, no relationship can ever remain intact when there is someone pulling someone else away from who they really are. And we got to say to you, the source within you will win. In other words, your inner being's love of you is so strong that when someone, a teacher or another person, tries to convince you that you are unlovable, there is a discord that comes between you that is the reason that most relationships don't work at all. In other words, we would like to say to you, when you get in a tug of war with somebody else's inner being, you're not going to win. And if you do, in a determined way, convince them that they are inferior in some way, so that you have actually pulled them away from their inner being. Now you've got a broken person you don't want to live with. Such an interesting thing. To try to convince somebody that they're wrong is the worst thing in the world that you could ever do for your relationship, because it is the opposite of who you were born to be. That's why when the television announces to you that your planet is in peril, it feels so awful to you, because those words are dragging you away from your inner being. Your inner being knows the well-being, and these words contradict it. That's why when somebody tells you that your economy is going down the toilet and that things are going to get terrible, it's why it feels so terrible to you, because it's dragging you away from your inner being. We're just wanting to make a strong point that the relationship that matters to everyone you know is their relationship with who they really are. And if you want to be an uplifter, and if you want to help a child thrive, then your work is to help them to tune into their inner being, to say things to them like their inner being says things to them, to compliment them, to praise them, to acknowledge the things that they are doing well. If there is an adult in your life that you want to be of advantage to, you want to treat them like their inner being treats them. You want to see them through the eyes of Source and hear them through the ears of Source. If you want your economy to thrive, if you want another country to thrive, you have to see it through the eyes of Source. You see what we're getting at? Really, really good. Good time for a segment of lunch.
Thank you so much.
Have you ever felt an impulse to draw back your well-being so that you didn't upset someone? Be a little less happy than you feel because you don't want to strike such a disparity between where you are and where they are? Show your abundance a little less? Jerry and Esther drive down the freeways with a monster bus. It is so beautiful. And many people pass and give them thumbs up. And others pass and put other fingers up. sort of depends on where they are in relationship to their abundance. And when they want to thrive and aren't, and they see someone who is, it makes them feel more acutely their own not letting it in. But Jerry and Esther never take issue at that, because they know what it's like to want and not know how to get. So if you're feeling disappointed, you're not frisky. If you're feeling disappointed, you're not a match to what's in your vibrational reality. You're a match to the absence of what's in your vibrational reality, which will hold you, as long as you remain a match to the absence of what you want, away from what you want. So we want to paint a picture for you that you can really get your thoughts around, because if you can understand this, your physical experience and the time from which you ask for something and it comes into full manifestation will become a very short period of time. It's not necessary for you to suffer for long periods of time in the absence of things you want. The things you want should come to you quickly. They should. And in the vibrational world, it is an instant manifestation. When you ask for it, the source within you becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you've asked for. You just have some catching up to do. The best way of saying it is, life caused you to become more, and the larger part of you has already become it. What's the rest of you doing? And you say, over here complaining about it not happening yet. Over here trying to figure out what I've done wrong. Over here feeling irritated that they've got it and I don't. Over here irritated that life doesn't seem fair and that I've worked really hard and that things should be going better for me. I don't have enough, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, I don't have enough. They're squandering it over there. They're mismanaging it over there. They're not taking care of business over there. And we say, it doesn't matter what excuse you're using to make yourself feel negative emotion. It doesn't matter what reality you're facing. It doesn't matter how real it is. We're not saying you're making it up. In most cases, you are historically and authentically accurate. But when you give your attention to the absence of what you want, when you let current reality be the truth-based reason for focusing, that's what you say to us. Well, it's true. Shouldn't I give my attention to it? And we say, yes, if you want it to remain exactly as it is. Well, doesn't truth count for anything? Yeah, it counts for somebody having given attention to something long enough that it became a reality. If you like it, jump on board. But if you don't like it, give your attention to something else. Use as your criteria for why you focus where you focus. Let your criteria be, how does it feel when I give my attention to it? Because if you find something that feels interesting when you focus upon it, which feels life-giving, which gives you a feeling of elation, when you start training yourself toward those things that feel really good, what's happening is you're training yourself into vibrational alignment with what you have already created that's in your vibrational escrow. And then life must get better for you. Here's how it works. You came forth from non-physical into the physical, a part of you. The larger part of you remained non-physically focused. You came forth into this physical body, and contrast causes you to know what you don't want and to ask for what you do want, whether you speak words about it or not. Every time you ask, the source energy part of you gives undivided attention to what you've asked for. Now, law of attraction is responding to every vibration that exists. And vibrations happen because attention is given. The vibration is about consciousness. So, law of attraction is responding to two vibrational aspects of you. The vibrational aspect of you in your human form and the vibrational aspect of you in your non-physical form. When you ask for something, the larger part of you gives undivided attention to what you've asked for, and now law of attraction is responding to this request. Now, it's important for you to understand that law of attraction has been responding to that request. Law of attraction has been responding to who you were before you were born and who you have become ever since. And everything that you ask for, source energy becomes a vibrational match to. So think about law of attraction's response to that very large vibrational offering. And as a result of law of attraction responding to this request, there is a vortex of creation, a vortex of attraction, where all things necessary to give you the fulfilled, manifested version of what you've asked for, all things necessary, all cooperative components are drawn to this vibrational vortex. If you could see it and know it as we do, you would never again worry about anything. If you could stand back and see what the billions of people on your planet today and all of those before have been living and therefore asking for, and you could view the vortex of mass consciousness, you would not worry about future experience. You would know the well-being, the utter well-being that is in place and coming even more into place. So here's this vortex of attraction, and it's huge. It is huge and powerful. And everything, all the things that you've asked for, the money, the clarity, the stability, the vitality, the harmony, all the things that you've been asking for from your discordant, comparative, contrasting experience, all of that is attracted. It's all there. It's all done. You know what's missing? You. Not always. But you are the only possible missing component. In other words, everything you want. You have created this expanded, ever amended version of you, which is vibrationally culminated at all times. And the power of law of attraction makes sure that that is so. But if you're over here saying, where is it? Then you're holding yourself vibrationally apart. And that tension of not going is what negative emotion is. When you're feeling joy, you're in the vortex. That's what that feeling of passion is. When you're feeling hope, you're close to the vortex. When you're frustrated, you're not in the vortex. When you're angry, you're not in the vortex. When you are feeling fear, you're really not in the vortex. In other words, you can tell by the way you feel what your proximity to this vortex is. And we want to say to you, if this vortex that is largely you were not spinning and attracting, then your not going wouldn't bother you. It's only bothering you because it is your creation and you're the only holdout. When you ask for improved life and the entire universe goes to work on creating an improved life, and you choose, instead of looking for positive aspects to beat the drum of what's gone wrong, you don't go to something that you've created, and that's why you feel worse. If you hadn't created the improvement to begin with, you wouldn't feel bad in the not joining the culmination of the improvement. So in very simple terms, we just have to say to you, when life causes you to be more, you've got to let yourself be it or you're not going to feel good. And many of you have already figured that out. You say, oh, I felt a lot better before I even wanted that. But now I want it and I don't have it. I feel awful. I feel better before I wanted it. And we say, you can't stop wanting. You've got to give that up. Some people say, oh, Abraham, wanting is not a good thing. Wanting and spirituality do not go together. Desire is not a good state of being. And in every case, when someone has brought that information to us from some body of work that they've been studying, we always say, and what do they tell you will happen to you if you give up your desire? And they say, we will then feel joy. And we say, is not joy desire? Is that not a desire? In other words, you cannot cease your desire, because the entire universe, this eternal universe, is established for the continuation of self. So contrast will always be part of your physical experience, and it will always cause you to expand. And when it does, it's a step 3 process. Contrast causes you to ask. You can't help it. That's step 1. Ask. Step 2, source answers. Source doesn't just answer what you've asked for. Source becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you've asked for and holds steadily to that concept eternally. When you ask, source becomes it and never stops standing in the vibrational place of it. Do you know that there is no slipping back from expansion? There is no regression. If life causes you or anyone, that's what the evolution of all species is about. If life causes you or anyone to ask for and then vibrationally become more, there is no slipping back from it. You can't say, oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. I'll take back the experience that caused me to desire this. You can't take it back. You lived it, you became it, the larger part of you is it, and now you have no choice if you are to be joyful other than to let yourself go with the flow of who you have become. And that really is what this art of allowing gathering is all about. It's about figuring out how, in my physical form, to find thoughts, more and more and more of them, that allow me more and more to get into the vortex of who I am.